City.
You're listening to the Good Morning Hamilton podcast from 900 CHML.
Hollywood's still reeling from the tragic fatal shooting of cinematographer Halyna Hutchins on the movie set of Rust. By now you've heard that actor Alec Baldwin fired a prop gun that was handed to him on the movie set, and while the gun contained a live round, production of the movie has now been halted. Stefano Da Fre is a film director with New York-based Rosso Films International and has worked firsthand with prop guns on set, and he's currently filming a World War II movie called Subject A, focusing on veterans who served in the military. Stefano, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good morning, and glad to be with you guys.
What an incredibly tragic story this is. What do you make of what happened on the set of Rust?
Well, first of all, I just want to say to Halyna Hutchinson's family, just my condolences and just the thoughts with her. You know, sometimes when these things happen, we often forget the victims. So the first thing I want to just say is it's a sad moment for someone like that who died, who didn't need to die. My thoughts about what we were just talking about, what you brought up, is that many things had to go wrong in the chain of command. There are multiple things, from the props master to the armory, who is the person who is in charge specifically of firearms, to the assistant director, who has to make a call before handing a gun to an actor, in this case Alec Baldwin, and calling it a cold gun, meaning that's the film industry's term for a gun that is safe to fire. There are many things that have to go wrong in that chain of command. So we're all still finding out pieces, but several things had to go wrong in that place, and we can talk about it in detail. Well,
not only that, but how does a live round make its way into a prop gun?
So right now, again, I want to just say this is all speculation. There are some stories from the film sets that people were using the gun with actual bullets the night before and using it for target practice. That was an article that came out, I think it was in the Hollywood Reporter, and then supported by the New York Times, that they had found extra bullets for the same pistol. That's the first thing. The second thing is that if you check and you're using blanks in a gun, you have to make sure that there are actual blanks, that there is no gunpowder, and gunpowder weighs very different. It's packed in much heavier. So the person who is the armor and the props specialist would be making that check ahead of time. And they would also have to go through the process of making sure that actually is a blank before handing it to the assistant director. Once the assistant director has that gun, it's also up to them then to check a third time, because they're then making the call on set, bringing the gun to the set and handing it to the talent, this case Alec Baldwin, and telling him it's okay, it's safe to fire, it's a cold gun. So this case has, from what it looks like and from the different reports that are coming out this past week, it seems that there is more information that we don't yet have to finding out what occurred in New Mexico.
Stefano Da Fre is our guest. He is a film director with New York-based Rosso Films International. We're chatting about the fatal shooting of a cinematographer on the movie set of Rust at the hand of Alec Baldwin. This isn't the first time this has happened. Brandon Lee, the son of Bruce Lee, was killed by a bullet in a prop gun on a movie set in 1993. How did the rules change after that instance, and what rules are going to change now?
It's a very, very good question. That was no doubt the question that was focused the most in the state of California. There was an investigation that lasted 10 years. But what they found out with that case, I think, is going to be a little bit different. What happened is that there were shards inside those guns. There were not actual bullets. And so in the case of Brandon Lee, they went through the person who had used the gun actually had there were shards inside the mechanics of the gun that then fired these like very light shards, but because of the speed of them and there was some powder left in, it obviously injured him and then killed him. What happened in place was what should happen in place right now, that we had somebody that would come in like an armor who is designated as a specialist in guns to also work with the prop master. You got to remember, back in the 90s, there was not that level of it would just fall under the prop master's sort of guide, let's say. There were more cases that helped and figure this out with also how ADs would handle that, would double check, would be the triple check, the last check to making sure before calling a cold gun on set. Those laws changed how many people were required to be on a film set to be managing that, rather than just in the case of, let's say, 2 people, it would go up to about 4 people that were, and an extra amount of people that were specialized just in weapons.
We got to run here, but I do want to slip in one more question. Can you see this changing the rules in terms of, no more blanks, period, no more anything inside weapons? Everything is going to be done in the editing bay in terms of sound effects, visual effects, all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, you can look at film directors like David Fincher, who famous for The Fight Club and The Social Network, famous for Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, does not use guns with blanks. Uses composite shots, composite bullets. In this day and age, with our technology, nobody needs to die in an accident when we have the technology to fill that in. So that would be the final closing comments that I would say.
Stefano, really appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us, and good luck with the movie Subject A.
Thank you so much for having me.
And again, is Stefano Da Fre, filmmaker and founder of Rosso Films International, based out of New York City. Should mention again that there is going to be a news conference in the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Department and its district attorney regarding